Alright guys, so some of you asked me what the difference was from the V1 and the V2s of the new Skyzone goggles that have come out recently, the Cobra X and the Sky 04X. And basically the only difference is the DVR, that thing that records the flight video to a micro SD card. And so if a lot of you guys aren't familiar with the history of DVRs with FPV goggles, there's a wide variety of them out there. Some of them good, some of them not so good. I think in the olden days, like the Fat Shark DVRs were all 30 frames per second or less, and all based off of the Motion JPEG codec, which is not very good in terms of providing good bit rate on the video and enough detail in the video. So many people complained about Fat Shark DVRs. And then that same sort of style of DVR showed up in the early Skyzone goggles like the O2C, O2X, also 30 frames per second and motion JPEG based. And then recently they have put in these new H264 Dvrs, which appeared in most of the recent goggles that have come out from Skyzone, including the Cobra X and the Sky 04X, the V1s. They have DVRs that are based on the H264 codec, but are only 30 frames per second max. Now in these V2s, they have 60 frames per second DVRs that are H264 in the codec, and this basically gives you the best resolution, detail, bit rate, all that. Basically matching the best DVR out there right now. I guess most people consider the best analog DVR. That would be the Immersion RC PowerPlay DVR, which is I believe that same DVR is in one of the Fat Shark, like the Scout goggles, I believe, which is like a box goggle. But those are the only two products I'm aware of that had H264 DVRs that can go 60 frames per second, which gives you like the best video for showing on YouTube and Instagram, etc., etc. So now we've got an H264 DVR in 60 frames per second in a Cobra X goggle and the Skyzone Sky 04X. Now they sent me a Cobra X goggle here. This is the V2. I'm going to unbox it here shortly, and I'll show you that it's essentially the same. There's no difference as far as I know. They did send me a new shell for the 04X, which I requested because I wanted to switch the color out of mine. And this is the DVR board here. So it's like HDMI out. I think the micro SD card's on the other side of the board. So this is basically, if you have an 04X V1, you can get this board and swap out that board and upgrade your DVR. And also you have to upgrade your firmware as well to basically get the V2 features. So I'm going to do a video later on how to do this upgrade, because you'd have to disassemble it and all that. It's going to be a pretty long video. We'll see how I'm going to put that out. Now, I'm obviously not going to make a video on how to upgrade this one because I'm not going to take it apart. I think there's a video on their channel that shows how to take this one apart and swap out the DVR. I will link that down in the video description if I can find that. Shouldn't be too hard. I think it's actually easier to take this one apart than the 04X. But yeah, I'm going to have a video later, a separate video on how to swap this one out if you happen to want to get the 60 frame per second H264 DVR on your 04X goggles, which I believe will also work on the other goggles that are in the same series, the ones with the Steady View diversity receiver. I'm pretty sure about that. So, and I'll have a link to this board as well down in the description. At the time of this recording of this video, I don't think it's out yet, but I'll put it in there at some point. Alright, so I got everything out of the box, and here's a sticker. It should say Cobra X V2. I think the Skyzone, the Sky 04X will also say Sky 04X V2 on its corresponding sticker as well. I'm not going to go through everything on this one because I've already done a video on the V1, but you can see it looks the same. I'm told there is no difference other than the DVR on this. It has the Steady View receiver. It's got the same buttons as before. Scroll wheels, same screen. all that. So you got the, just got the DVR down on the bottom. And I'm not sure if this is the same board that's on the 04X or not. I'll have to ask about that. It looks pretty similar. It's like a straight board like this with the micro HDMI in. I mean, it's possible they're reusing parts there. I mean, I don't see why they would have a separate DVR board there, because it's got the AV in and out stuff here along with a micro SD card. So I'm fairly certain it's the same type of board, just obviously in a different form factor and case and everything here. So in any event, you've probably already seen flight footage of this earlier. I probably put this out on the HX115LR video earlier this week. So you've probably seen this already and not even known that it was any different. If you guys did notice it was different, let me know down in the comments. I'm curious if you caught that or not. Sometimes some of you really sharp guys out there are able to notice some of the differences in my videos. I'm like, hey, something changed. What's going on? It's kind of interesting when that happens. Anyway, as you can see, it's got all the same accessories and parts. I don't see anything different. It's got the same whip antennas, headband, and also the Velcro and everything for the padding. Of course, I'm going to add all that to here and go out and get that footage for you. I will also link some additional footage down in the video description for some other flights if you want to see some additional footage on this 60 frames per second. I'm going to upscale it because the resolution is like VGA resolution or something like that. It's like 640 by 480, and the YouTube doesn't handle that stuff very good. It just basically compresses it to death, so it won't look very good. So any of the footage you're going to see is going to be upscaled to 1440p. That way you'll get the best bitrate out for YouTube with minimal damage to it from YouTube compression. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of the new DVR, 60 frames per second, H264. Do you guys notice a difference? Is it better, worse? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Talk to you guys in the next video.